Burn your goals. Yes, burn them. The vision boards, the 5-year plans, the promises you whisper to the future, tear them apart. Because they are not making you stronger. They are making you dependent. Dependent on a future that does not exist yet. And every day you stare at that future. You quietly abandon the present. You were told that goals create success. But look closer. Goals do something else. They create hope. And hope is a dangerous drug. Most people are addicted to goals. They write them down. They repeat them. They visualize them. But something strange happens. The more they chase the destination, the more anxious they become. Because goals turn life into a waiting room. Waiting for the promotion. Waiting for the money. Waiting for the body. Waiting for the moment they finally feel worthy. But the moment never comes. Machiavelli understood something most people refuse to see. Life is chaos. He called it fortuna, a violent river of fate, unpredictable, uncontrollable, and if you build your life on a fragile destination, that river will destroy it. Because chaos does not respect your plans. Chaos laughs at your goals. Goals create tunnel vision. You stare at the mountain peak. You imagine the victory, the applause, the transformation. But while your eyes are locked on the summit, you fail to see the cliff right in front of your feet. And when you fall, you don't just lose the goal, you lose your identity, because you tied your worth to an outcome you never controlled. A goal is a wish disguised as a plan. A method is a zig. One begs the future to cooperate. The other reshapes reality until it has no choice. The dreamer asks, "What do I want?" The strategist asks, "What must I control?" If you are tired of chasing goals, good, because this is where the real game begins. Not the game of wishing, not the game of motivation, the game of power. Tonight, you stop being a dreamer. Tonight, you become a strategist. And the first step is simple. Delete the goal. Ask yourself something. Why do you set goals? Not the polite answer. The real one. Why do you write things like, "I want to be rich. I want to be successful. I want to be happy"? Look deeper. The truth is uncomfortable. You create goals because the present hurts. Because right now, you are not who you want to be. A goal is not a map. It is a painkiller, a fantasy future you create to escape the present. For a moment, it feels good. You imagine the victory. You imagine the applause. You imagine the life you believe you deserve. And your brain rewards you, not for action, but for imagination. This is the hidden trap. When you focus on the future, you abandon the present. Your life becomes a permanent delay. I will be happy when I achieve it. I will be confident when I succeed. I will live when I arrive. But the future is a moving target. And while you chase it, your life quietly passes by. Goals create fragile identities. You tell yourself, "When I achieve this, then I will matter. When I reach that, then I will be worthy." So your entire identity rests on a single outcome. And when life interferes, the illusion collapses. Because the world does not obey your timeline. Chaos does not care about your vision board. This is why so many people break. They fail a goal, and suddenly their entire identity collapses. They feel like frauds, failures, impostors. But the truth is simple. The goal was the trap. You tied your worth to something you never controlled. The moment you understand this, something shifts. You stop worshipping the future. You start commanding the present. This is the first awakening. And if this idea just clicked in your mind, leave a single word below. Awake. Not for me. For yourself. A quiet signal that you see the game now. There is a moment when the dreamer dies and the strategist wakes up. It happens quietly. No applause. No announcement. Just a single realization. The world is not a story. It is a battlefield. And on a battlefield, you do not hope. You maneuver. The dreamer asks one question. What do I want? The strategist asks another. Where is the leverage? Where is the power flowing? Where are the weak points? Where is the opportunity no one else sees? Because power is never random. Power flows through structures, through systems, through positions. Most people chase money, but money is not the target. Money is the river. It flows through industries, through networks, through people who control the gates. The strategist does not chase the river. He positions himself where the river must pass. And when you control the bridge, you no longer chase wealth. Wealth comes to you. Goals focus on outcomes. Methods focus on structure. A goal says, I want success. A method says, I will build systems that produce success. Do you see the difference? One depends on luck. The other creates inevitability. Goals trap you. They lock your identity inside a single outcome. But a strategist never traps himself. He expands. If one path closes, he creates another. If the terrain shifts, he shifts with it. The strategist does not chase destiny. He engineers it. The moment you stop chasing goals, something strange happens. Your mind becomes quiet. You stop begging the future to cooperate. You start studying reality. Every room becomes information. Every person becomes data. Every obstacle becomes terrain. And slowly, without drama, without noise, you begin to move like a strategist. We live in a loud world. Everyone is announcing something. I'm starting a business. I'm going to the gym. I'm working on a new project. Plans, goals, declarations. The modern world has turned ambition into a performance. People talk about the climb before they even touch the mountain, and the crowd applauds. But Machiavelli would call this suicide. Machiavelli gave us a simple metaphor: the lion and the fox. The lion has strength. It frightens enemies, but the lion falls into traps. The fox sees the traps, but the fox cannot fight the wolves. To survive power, you must become both. Strong enough to dominate, clever enough to disappear. But when it comes to your ambitions, you must be the fox. Silent, patient, watching, because the moment you announce your goal, something dangerous happens. Not outside, inside your brain. When you tell people your goal, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical you would feel after achieving it. Your mind believes the work is done. You feel proud, satisfied, accomplished, but nothing has happened. You tricked your own brain. You rewarded yourself for imagination. And there is a second danger. When you announce your ambitions, you create resistance. Jealous people, doubters, hidden competitors, people who suddenly have a reason to see you fail. You give them a target. You reveal your direction. You expose your strategy. A real strategist moves differently. Quiet steps, hidden intentions, no announcements, no noise, just results. So, if this perspective feels different, let it travel. Pass this insight forward. Because the world is full of loud dreamers, but it is ruled by silent strategists. Here is the moment most people break. They set the goal. They work hard. They sacrifice comfort. And then, life happens. The market crashes. The job disappears. A relationship ends. The plan collapses. And suddenly, everything feels meaningless. This is where the goal setter falls apart. Because his identity was attached to the plan, when the plan dies, he dies with it. He says, "It's not fair. The universe is against me. My life is ruined." But the strategist sees something else. The strategist does not worship the map. He studies the terrain. If the terrain changes, the map is irrelevant. A goal says this must happen. Reality says this is what is happening. And power belongs to the person who adapts first. Think about fire. Wind kills a candle, but wind feeds a fire. Goals turn you into a candle, fragile, terrified of disruption. But strategy turns you into fire. Chaos becomes fuel. Pressure becomes heat. And the stronger the storm becomes, the hotter you burn. Ask yourself something dangerous. If you lost everything tomorrow, your job, your money, your stability, would you know what to do next? If the answer is no, then your strength is an illusion. You are dependent on circumstances, and dependence is the opposite of power. The strategist prepares for destruction, not with fear, with curiosity, because every collapse reveals something, a weakness, a blind spot, a new path, and the one who adapts fastest always inherits the future. There is another enemy, a quiet one. It doesn't live in the world. It lives inside you, your impulses, your cravings, your excuses. The part of you that always whispers, "Later, tomorrow, you deserve a break." We are taught to be gentle with ourselves, to forgive weakness, to comfort our failures. But Machiavelli would see danger here, because weakness inside the ruler destroys the kingdom. And your mind is a kingdom. Ask yourself a brutal question. Who rules your mind, you or your impulses? Because most people do not rule themselves. They negotiate with their weakness. They bargain with their discipline. But power does not negotiate. A sovereign does not negotiate with terrorists. And your cravings are terrorists. They hijack your focus. They steal your time. They weaken your discipline. If you obey them long enough, they become your master. This is why discipline feels terrifying. Because discipline means authority. Authority over your time. Authority over your body. Authority over your attention. And when you gain this kind of control, something changes. You stop chasing motivation. You become dangerous. Discipline is the only freedom. Because the man who can command himself cannot be controlled by the world. When you control your impulses, your habits, your attention, you walk into a room with a quiet certainty, and people feel it. They don't know why, but they sense something. Authority. Now we arrive at the real method. Not motivation, not dreams. As structure, a system. Machiavelli's way of power rests on 3 pillars: positioning, leverage, adaptability. Miss one of them, and your strategy collapses. The first pillar is positioning. Stop asking, "What do I want?" Start asking, "Where should I stand?" Because success is rarely about effort. It is about location. Stand in the wrong place. And even genius struggles. Stand in the right place. And opportunity hunts you. If you want money, don't chase money. Position yourself in the flow of money. Industries, markets, networks, places where capital moves every second. When you stand in the middle of that flow, wealth becomes traffic, and you control the bridge. The second pillar is leverage. Most people work like soldiers. One action, one result, one effort, one outcome. But power does not scale that way. The strategist asks, how can one action create 10 results? Through systems, through people, through technology, through influence. Leverage multiplies power. Instead of pushing harder, you design systems that push for you. Other people's time, other people's resources, other people's networks. The strategist conserves energy, not for laziness, for precision, for the moment that matters most. The third pillar is adaptability. Rigid plans break. Flexible strategies survive. If the door is locked, go through the window. If the window is sealed, dig a tunnel. If the tunnel collapses, wait for rain to soften the ground. The strategist never stops moving. He simply changes direction. Once you see the system, the world looks different. You begin to notice something strange. Everyone is running, chasing something. Titles, status, approval. But the strategist is not running. He is observing. Because the fastest man is not always the one who wins the race. The one who understands the terrain does. Something else changes. Your relationship with time. Goal setters panic. They feel behind. They feel late. They feel pressure. But the strategist moves differently. He understands something simple. Delay is not defeat. Delay is preparation. When progress slows, the dreamer panics. But the strategist sharpens. He studies. He learns. He improves the weapon. Because the battlefield does not reward speed. It rewards precision. One precise move is worth 1,000 frantic ones. Here is the paradox. When you stop chasing success, you start becoming dangerous. Because your mind is no longer desperate. Desperation clouds judgment. Calm reveals patterns. And when you see patterns, you begin to predict movement, markets, people, opportunities. The strategist becomes the eye of the storm. Still, cold, watching, while everyone else is reacting emotionally. He is calculating angles, timing, pressure points. And when the moment arrives, He moves once, decisively. At this stage, you stop looking like a man chasing success. You start looking like a man who already has power. Your movements slow. Your words become rare. Your attention sharpens. And people begin to notice, not because you speak louder, but because you move with certainty. Most people worship plans. 5-year plans. 10-year visions. Perfect timelines for a future they cannot control. It makes them feel safe. It makes them feel organized. But the world does not move in straight lines. Fortune bends. Reality shifts. And the man who worships the plan breaks when the plan breaks. This is why the strategist builds something different. Not plans. Not predictions. But preparation. Preparation for chaos. Preparation for loss. Preparation for opportunity that appears without warning. Because the man who prepares deeply rarely needs perfect circumstances. Preparation creates power, skills, knowledge, networks, awareness. These things do not expire. They do not collapse when markets shift. They do not disappear when circumstances change. They travel with you, like weapons on a battlefield. This is the difference between chasing success and becoming capable. The goal chaser needs the perfect environment. The strategist creates advantage in any environment. New market, opportunity. Economic crisis, opportunity. Unexpected change, opportunity. Eventually, something strange happens. You stop asking for success. You start becoming the kind of person success cannot ignore. Your thinking sharpens. Your reactions slow down. Your attention becomes precise. You are no longer chasing. You are positioning. At this point, you understand the truth. Goals were never the power. Control was. Position was. Discipline was. And when those things exist, results stop being random. They become inevitable. Now you understand. Goals were never the path. They were the distraction. They kept you staring at the horizon while the real battle was happening right beneath your feet. The moment you delete the goal, you stop begging for the future. You start commanding the present. A strange calm appears. No pressure to arrive. No panic to succeed quickly. Just movement. Deliberate. Strategic. Controlled. Because when your focus is on positioning, every step has meaning. Even the slow ones. The dreamer waits for permission. The strategist creates inevitability. He studies power. He studies systems. He studies people. And slowly, almost invisibly, his position improves. Until one day, the world calls him lucky. But luck was never the story. People will ask you how you did it, how you became successful, how everything started working for you. They will think it was a moment, a breakthrough, a miracle. But you will know the truth. It was positioning. It was discipline. It was patience. This path is not easy. It is quiet. It is lonely. And it demands absolute responsibility. No excuse. No fantasies. No waiting for someone to save you. But it gives you something far greater than a goal ever could. Control. Now you see the game. Not the game of motivation. The game of power. And this is only the beginning. There are deeper lessons, darker strategies, ways to see the world most people never notice. So, if you want to continue this journey of strategy and psychological power, Stay close. Subscribe and turn on the bell, because the next lesson will reveal something even more dangerous.